I'm Evelyn Culp, interviewing her.
Welcome to Evie's History Bites, hosted by Martha Owen, the Heritage Collection Manager of the ELC Heritage Collection. Hi, I'm Martha, your host. Welcome to another episode of Evie's History Bites. I have my boss, Seth James, the director of the Nappanee Public Library and the ELC Heritage Collection, as my guest this month. We're going to be talking about the Nappanee Public Library and its current renovation. But before we get to Seth, let's have a little history lesson. In 1895, the Ladies' Library Association formed with a collection of 178 books. Membership was $1, and a single book could be borrowed for 2 weeks. It was 50 cents a year to renew membership. Non-members could borrow a book at the cost of 10 cents each per week. Opened on Saturdays, and they were open on Saturdays only from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. The first librarian was Nora Blessing Rusher. The Ladies' Library Association opened in the Carriage Work Factory, moved to the upstairs of the Hartman building. For a bit, it was in a dressmaking parlor, and it was located in the Women's Relief Corps room as well. By 1900, though, it was located in a millinery shop. In 1916, the Thursday Club got behind the idea of having a public library. They had an art sale and exhibit and were able to raise $31.50 to establish the library fund. When Belle and Horace Stauffer returned to Nappanee in 1919, after Horace had served as a state representative, Belle hit the ground running to get Nappanee a public library. She carried a petition and needed a certain amount of signatures to get Nappanee that public library, and it was found that Nappanee was able to qualify under the 1905 library law. Bell was able to secure the necessary number of signatures, and the petition was presented to Judge Drake, who was the judge of the circuit court in Goshen. He then appointed a couple members to the library board, as well as the city or town, as it was then, of Nappanee, and the school board also appointed a few. The very first library board meeting was held at the schoolhouse on May 6, 1919. They worked to organize the library as well as find a property. They selected the Kripe property and Hartman property that were adjoining to each other, and the price of the properties together was $9,500. Rachel Steer was secured as the librarian, and it was decided to open it on February 5th, 1921. 231 children and adults became registered to borrow books that day. In May of 1921, Claude Stoops traveled to New York City to see if he could secure funding for a Carnegie Building library. It was found that the Carnegie Fund hadn't been funding libraries for years since they started funding the war effort. The library received a grant from the Public Works Administration to build in 1936. Since then, the library has been expanding and utilizing their space. With expansions in 1985 and 2000, the library made a bigger footprint on its original space. And now, in 2025, it has started renovations to revitalize its footprint and look towards the future. Seth and I sat down to talk about the library and its renovations. So thank you so much, Seth, for sitting down with me. I know that you've been a guest host before, but now I get you in the hot seat.
Thanks, Martha. I'm happy to be here.
All right, so we'll just dive right into it. So tell us about yourself.
Okay, my name is Seth James. I'm the director of Nappanee Public Library. I've been the director of Nappanee Public Library since June of 2022, and I am a native of Michigan, but I moved to Indiana in 2015 and have been living in Indiana since then. So,
yeah. And so why did you decide to pursue librarianship as a career?
So I have been working in libraries since I was in high school. It was my first job in high school. I started out as a page at the local library in Battle Creek, Michigan, where I grew up. And then I continued to work in libraries through college and after college, and decided, hey, I've been working in libraries. I really love it. I think they're important places of learning and community. And so I decided to go into professional librarianship. That's when I started the Master's in Library Science program at Indiana University, which is what actually brought me to Indiana. And while I was there, I focused on mainly rare books and manuscripts and archives, but my heart was kind of always with public libraries, and that's where I ended up going after graduating from Indiana University with that degree. And that's what ultimately brought me here.
Nice. So what is Renew NPL?
So Renew NPL is the project that NPL is currently working on, our renovation project of the Nappanee Public Library building. It is a renovation, an interior renovation. It's not changing the footprint of the building at all, but it is basically a refresh of the building. When people say renovation, it can kind of make people a little bit nervous. We're not tearing anything down per se. We are in fact trying to preserve the historical aspects of the library whilst also updating areas that need updating, improvements that need improvement, and making sure that the building stands the test of time in the coming days.
And I think one of the biggest questions that the library has been getting asked about the renovation is like, what's happening to the original library?
See, the original library is going to continue to be one of the primary highlights of our library. Everyone who has come to NPL knows the beautiful 1936 facade that we have within the library, and that is not going to change. That's something that I think that Nappanee Public Library, our Board of Trustees and our staff, myself included, all recognize the historical significance of Nappanee Public Library, and we want to make sure that we preserve that. And that was actually a big impetus behind this renovation, was to make sure that 1936 part of the building doesn't start falling down, doesn't fall into disrepair. And I think people are going to be really excited and will really enjoy seeing some of the details that we have in our new renovation that actually reference the historical heritage of the 1936 building.
Nice. I know I love the 1936 library. I often imagine like Evelyn walking down those steps.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm in the library by myself, all the lights are out, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we want to inspire. We want to make sure that the library maintains its historical character. And so one of the very cool things is that we're moving the entirety of the adult services collection back into the old library.
Yeah.
So everything will be on the same floor for the adult collection. Including a very beautiful reading room that has details that are very reminiscent of the 1936 building.
Nice. So what are some of the exciting things of the renovation that you're most excited for?
I'm very excited about that the new adult services area. I think that it has a very classic library feel that people love about libraries. In addition to that, I'm very excited about the refresh that we're doing to the kids department. The kids department is going to be updated. It's going to be much better much more well lit. It's going to have its own programming area so that so kids and families can do kid-related programs in their own area versus trying to compete with the other meeting rooms. I think that the flow of the library is going to definitely work a lot better than it currently does, and I'm generally just excited for people to be able to use the new building and to enjoy a beautified library. So.
Nice. So the building project is happening in phases as well. So like, what are there going to be any services that are going to be interrupted?
So as we move forward with this project, and this has been stressed with our contractor, Brown and Brown, and they too are endeavoring for this. We're trying to ensure that services are disrupted as little as possible during the renovation period.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there may be times in the coming year or so of the renovation where we will need to close the library because they're working on plumbing, or they're working on electricity, on the electrical stuff. But for the most part, we are doing everything we can to maintain the same services we did before. It's important that the library continues to be a place for people to check out books, to use our online resources, to study, to play, all those things. And we're working hard to make sure that happens. So to answer your question, we're hopeful that the disruptions that do occur are few and far between, and when they do, we're going to notify our customers well ahead of time.
All right. And I think meeting rooms are the biggest disruption for this entire project, because there's the possibility of no meeting rooms for upwards of a year.
That's correct.
So.
And that's where I want to thank you, Martha, and your team and the Heritage Collection for stepping up. We will have limited meeting room space at the Nappanee Center, provided by the ELC Heritage Collection. It will be more limited than we're used to, and we just ask that that our community have patience with us during this time. But we're doing our best to make sure that as soon as the new meeting room complex is ready, we have it available for people to use.
Nice. And so what's the timeline for the project?
So the timeline is coming up quick. The timeline is to begin work on the renovation on phase 1 on October 27th of this year. Just a couple days from now.
Yeah.
And the timeline so far is that the first phase will be completed in February. The second phase, which includes the kids department, we're hoping will be finished by May 1st. And then the third phase of the renovation will hopefully be done around this same time next year. So October-ish.
Okay. Nice. So a year-long renovation with breaks in between to kind of open up the new areas and get those ready for the public as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a big thing, is that in order for us to maintain the services that we want to continue to maintain and provide to our customers, we want to make sure that we can move in books and move in new furniture and all of that stuff in between the phases being completed. So that's going to we'll have quick turnarounds between the phases, but we're excited to get those areas up and running again for customers to enjoy.
Yeah, and I think it's so sad seeing like there's no bookcases in the upper level right now. But it's really cool what they found like behind the bookshelves, like the CDs and the books. And
we had our own mini little time capsule behind those. Behind those, the books that had fallen behind. Some CDs that are definitely of a different time, I think.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And I will say I can in having to move so much of the library's items here as well, with the blueprints and our local history room, and finding the original blueprints, now picturing that space that's currently empty, like I can picture what the 36 layout was a little bit better.
That's interesting. That is cool how when you go through these times of transition, you can kind of have a better grasp on the past sometimes. And just along those lines, you mentioned the local history collection. One of the details of the first phase will be a reading room, which will include and highlight the local history collection. So that's a very cool element too.
Yeah, I'm excited to get out of the closet.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
that the local history room can get out of the closet and it can be on display beautifully.
Yeah. on display beautifully and hopefully well used by our customers.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Yeah. So what does the library and its board hope for the outcome of this project?
I think the main thing is that we hope that services, that this renovation will allow us to provide services even more efficiently and better than before. They'll allow us to have more flexibility with programming. It'll allow us to do more programming. I'm thinking particularly of the kids department and the new programming space there. I think the other element is that we do consider the library as to be a community gathering place, and with the new with really nice places to sit and study. We have some new study rooms for people as well, the new meeting room complex. All those things will continue to amplify the library as a community gathering place. All of this renovation too is hinging on us maintaining the building and making sure that the building is a comfortable, well lit, nice place to be. And so I think the board is really eager to make sure that the building itself is beautiful, well maintained, repaired where it needs to be, and all of these elements I think ultimately are for the good of the community and ensuring that the library can provide everything that our customers have become accustomed to us providing.
Nice. So what some people probably don't realize is that with the library, it's really been 3 buildings.
That's right.
So it's been the 36 library
Right.
that's had the 85 edition, and then it's had the 2000 edition on it, making it almost 3 separate buildings.
Right.
So how is this renovation going to make it one building?
So a lot of the design elements will have we have some continuity between the design elements. A lot of the colors that we've selected, the carpeting, the wall colors, the furnishings. I think there's a really nice continuity between the different areas that will really will really tie the room together, if you will.
Okay.
And I think that's a big element of this. As you mentioned, it is more or less 3 different buildings built around each other, kind of like a Russian nesting doll.
Yeah.
Almost. So it does create some challenges for renovating, but at the end of the day, all the elements that the staff have been working on, the design elements, and that the board has been approving, I think really create some nice, really create a space that makes sense together.
Yeah. And I will say, like, seeing the whole process and things, this isn't something that the library and its board has taken lightly. This has been a 2.5-year process?
Yeah, so this has been a long process, and certainly we don't take this lightly. We want to ensure that our taxpayers, their dollars go towards quality improvements to the library, that all the improvements are necessary, which I believe that they are. And our board is really dedicated to being good stewards of that money. And ensuring, and that's what I think this ultimately is an investment back into the community, and is also an investment in the long-term viability of our building and of our organization, the library. So yeah, I would definitely say that both the staff and the Board of Trustees have worked tirelessly on this project and also understand how important it is that this project is done correctly and well.
So something just popped into my mind and it just blanked. But for me, I think one of the coolest things for me being part of the project was researching.
Yeah.
And really knowing diving deeper into my library research and really finding out how the library was established, because it that was part of the process. And part of the process and being able to renovate is, figuring out how the library was established.
That's right. Yeah, so that was really fascinating to me as well. In order to know how we were supposed to secure the bond, we had to figure out when exactly and in what method the library was established. And so that was really an interesting thing to find out, that the library ultimately was established by citizens of Nappanee, which is why we went to the city to secure that bond initially for the project.
Yeah, because a lot of people would probably think that, you would have to go to the county for that, but not the way that the laws were set up back then.
Right.
And how it all transpired. Like,
Yeah.
and even for me, I think one of my favorite people in how the library was established was Belle Stauffer, and how being a woman and carrying a petition,
Yeah.
and getting enough signatures in 1921 to establish. Well, actually, before that, and because the board was established in 1919.
Right.
So, prior to the 1920s, being a woman carrying a petition, getting enough signatures to be able to take it to a judge over in Goshen and him put a stamp of approval on it.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. And I think it really shows the dedication that this community has had to the library, and it underlines the importance that the library has had in our community since the beginning. And definitely that the library, NPL's dedication to serving our community has not changed, and we continue to do that to this day.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people also know like how much the library has done for the community, with the creation of the ELC Heritage Collection,
Right.
And Evelyn's vision in the 70s, to what it is today, and then multiple other projects. The library's even won national awards.
Right.
Some of the highest national awards out there that libraries can win, and
Right.
they were all community projects, which I think is really amazing that they would, rather than focus on themselves and nominate themselves for something internally, it was something that was external.
Yeah, I mean that really shows how Nappanee Public Library would not be where it is today without without the people who we serve, without this community behind us, and so we're exceptionally appreciative of that.
Yeah, and I think one thing too, when the Heritage Collection was helping the city with the strategic plan, and I'm sure when you were also being interviewed, the amount of people who are working of the outside organizations that were working on this strategic long-range plan with the city, and how much they just said that they loved the library, and how much they saw it as a pillar of the community, and these people weren't even part of our community and had no idea about anything about Nappanee.
That's right. Yeah, and that's why we want to maintain those connections, those community connections that we have with organizations in our community, local groups, and individuals. Yeah, it's a real privilege to be able to serve a community like Nappanee.
Yeah, and I always tell people, so since the renovations are going on across the street, I always say that there's two buildings now that have similar architecture, with having buildings within each other, of the Nappanee Center having the John Hartman House and the library having the 36th library. Other libraries that I've visited, they'll have like renovated around their old libraries, or they'll integrate them somehow. Like I think in Stark County, the original Carnegie Library is their local history room, and you can't really tell it until you're in it.
Yeah.
But I think that's one thing that I love about NPL is how much not only it values its community, but it also values its heritage and its history.
Very true. I think that the illustration that you just had of the of those of the Hartman House, and then also the library having the 1936 building, and those additions really shows that quite literally our history and heritage here in Nappanee is at the heart of what we do.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the library is such a pillar in the community, like we've been talking about. So what was kept in mind during the process for the community?
So one of the main things that we wanted to ensure was that, like we've mentioned, the history of the building is respected, and we've gotten into that a little bit, but there's so many elements to the library building that people love and care about, whether it's the historical 1936 facade or it's our stained glass. Mm-hmm. All these elements are things that we wanted to ensure are highlighted and maintained, rather than obscured or covered over.
Yeah.
In addition to that, I think that our library is used by local groups, clubs, organizations all the time, and so that's why one of the bigger things that we are working on is making sure that our new meeting room complex is really accessible to everyone. Mm-hmm. Accessibility also being a big part of this. We want to make sure that our building is entirely ADA accessible, and so that's been another big impetus behind what we're doing with the renovation.
And I think what you were saying earlier, like with putting the adult collections on one floor, having the meeting room complex on one floor, and then having the kids having the downstairs, I think it's a perfect plan. And you mentioned the stained glass window, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of people think about when they have seen the plans of like what is happening with the stained glass window, because that's unique just to us.
Right.
Like nobody else has a bookshelves of books
Yeah.
as a stained glass window.
Right. Yeah, the stained glass window is it's really fun to see people getting pictures taken next to it and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, and we of course use it in our promotional materials all the time. But yeah, the stained glass window was something that we wanted to make sure would be even more visible, and so the stained glass window will be moving, but it will actually be moving forward and forward from where it's currently positioned, so it will actually be even more highlighted than it was before.
Yeah, and I'm pretty excited for the preservation of it.
Yeah.
And that it can be there. I'm also excited that the architects who have been helping us, they really took into account our history, and they gave us an opportunity to do like a history hall.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, that's Arcos Design, who have been our architects for this project. They work with libraries all the time on their renovation projects, but one of the first things that we talked to Arcos about when we first started this project was recognizing the heritage of the community and how important that was, that we maintained that and that we highlighted that in our renovation. So they've been really diligent in ensuring that the elements that are new to the library and the elements that from the old library that we're maintaining, that those things continue to be in the forefront. And yeah, the history hall, which is a really cool idea, which will be just outside the new meeting room complex. I'm really excited to see where that's going to take us. I think it's a great opportunity for us to yet again highlight the history of our community.
Yeah, and I'm also excited that the Chimes of Normandy is staying.
Yeah.
As well.
Yes.
I mean, the Chimes of Normandy has been with the library since 1931, and so for it to actually get to stay.
Yeah.
Is pretty excited. I think that the building would probably be haunted if the Chimes of Normandy left.
Right. Yeah, and we of course are trying to avoid hauntings at all costs. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, is there anything else that you want to talk about or touch on with the renovation or NPL as a whole, or?
Well, I just want to say I want to thank the community for their support in this project, and just thank them for their patience as we go through the renovation project. Of course, there will be there will be inconveniences, I'm sure, as the time goes on, especially with parking and things of that nature. But I've been really pleased with the public reaction to the renovation so far, and we just want to thank all of you for everything that you do to support us, and we want to make it up to you. So we're doing what we can to provide those services you've come to expect. So I'm also very open to people coming and talking to me about the project. I really do hope you will. I'm excited to talk about it, and feel free to visit our website. We have a whole page on the renovation. Take a look at recent updates, and come in and check out the project as it goes forward. We're going to have, we'll hopefully be able to show a lot more of the upcoming renovation publicly in the library and online. And we want you to be a part of this, and we want you to celebrate this new step for NPL with us. So please do.
Nice. And yeah, the construction starts Monday, so it's getting real.
It is very real. It's very, very real right now, but we're very, very excited.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Seth, for sitting down with me. I truly appreciate it. I appreciate everything that you do for both the library and the ELC Heritage Collection.
Thank you, Martha, and thank you for what you do for our community and with the Heritage Collection. It's much appreciated.
Thank you.
Well, that's all that I have for this episode. A big thank you to Seth for joining me. Next month, Scott from Thingamabobbles Toy Store will be joining me, and we'll be talking about toys. Before you go, be sure to subscribe to this podcast, hit like, or leave us a comment.